Got it.
cross in the morning. It supposedly is much better. And Magdalene is what, 45 minutes?
You know, somebody was just giving me a phone yesterday about crossing at 4 a.m. said there was 0.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Well, I know somebody that left you at 4, and they got to the crossing at 8:30.
I'm here.
2.5 hours.
We had to move. If anybody's out there listening, we had to move. Oh no, why isn't this connecting? It was just connected.
Were you already talking to them?
No, we're on YouTube, but my audio stream just disconnected for some reason.
So it's everybody's smiling.
Yeah, right. No, it's the software I use to record the feed and broadcast it as an. Oh, that's bizarre. So that has changed microphones. There we go.
I got a 4x4. You want to ride?
Okay, testing. Testing. Testing.
Man, I went out.
Testing. Testing. Okay, we had to move locations real quick because it was wet where we were.
Pull out the umbrellas.
That's right.
We've been
Oh,
told
it's-
that it's supposed to be tailing off by noon, though.
Yeah, it
So
says
it
so.
should be
They-
nice this evening. I hear. I'm looking forward.
That's
to
sure
that.
what
I've
the
not been to your house before.
Prediction looks like, right?
I've obviously been past it.
Yeah.
It's right
Oh,
on
yeah.
the main road. So, but I've never been.
Carolyn knows how to get there.
So I
We
hope
have
so.
to.
Well, she's been there twice.
I have to get home and sweep the flood off the deck.
Yes.
We got covered right over
Well,
the deck.
we're dark, but we're rolling.
It's a flat deck, so the spouts that come out, the drain spouts, the deck is about that much further than the roof. And
It flows back in.
comes down right inside the railing, and it slopes towards the house. It doesn't slope out, it slopes in. It's Mexico.
Yeah, I know.
It's just incredible. There'll be that much water in against them. It doesn't go in the house, but it's right up against the windows.
Well, I went to
There's no light?
one of the. one
They
of
don't
the
have a
people
light in that
from,
light.
No, just a fan.
Just a fan.
Libros.
Fan's
The
important.
woman said her husband
I
was
won't
going
knock
up
the
to pick up
fan.
some people at Phoenix,
Well, we
and
can all
so
just,
he said he'd bring us.
That's right. Just shine your tablets up this direction.
get our phones.
That's great. Just cast them behind us. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fake it, and I'm just gonna up the brightness on these cameras.
It's just not Christmas without Brussels sprouts.
There you go.
I tend to.
All right.
Most people.
My daughter-in-law loves the
Oh,
damn
oh, oh!
Brussels
I think we're ready to go.
She bakes. She loves them. Nobody else does.
When you want to speak, we'll put the flashlight on you, and then we'll all be able to see you on the film. Yeah.
You know, that's not a bad idea for our Halloween meeting.
Yes, right. That was just looking over here.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, everybody put it up on YouTube.
It's as good as it's gonna get for today, isn't it? Well, welcome to our Christmas Eve meeting. You guys are troopers coming out in this weather. I really thought that I was gonna be sitting here by myself.
Oh no! Stop.
I was actually on Facebook, some of you know, going, should I cancel this meeting?
They all said, we're here. Where are you?
Jim's like, we're not gonna be sitting outside, but apparently we were.
Semi-outside.
It couldn't be wetter where we were. I'm glad we decided to move when we did, because there's a lake forming under our previous location.
I hope the Christmas tree doesn't short out.
Yeah,
At least it's getting water.
you know, I couldn't leave. That's a good point. I couldn't leave anything in disarray over there because everything was getting wet. I couldn't come back for it later, including their monitor there that I had pulled out away from the wall.
Oh.
I'm looking up at it going, oh, you'll be fine. Drip, drip, drip. I'm like, no, you're not going to be fine. I need to get you back up against the rim. But finally, everything's out of the water except for the Christmas tree, which I had been thinking practically I probably should have unplugged. A Merry Star Wars Christmas. Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Nobody likes caroling like Yoda. A Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you.
Yeah.
It's Yoda carols.
Yes, it's Carols by Yoda.
You know, I'm a little sad because I have a whole collection of Star Wars, Christmas themed Star Wars background images that I was ready to display on the TV in the other room, and now I don't get to do it.
Well,
So
you can hold your computer.
So
That's right.
how was the movie?
it was awesome. It was awesome. I'm ready to go see it again in a heartbeat. Anybody wants to go, I'll go with you.
It's 2 for 1 Tuesday. You could do it today, you know.
I bet today is insane, isn't it? Christmas Eve,
We were
2
going to
for
go
1
today,
Tuesday,
but
And
we
it's-
went
and it's
last
raining.
Friday instead.
and it's raining.
Nothing to do outside.
Yeah. Of course, the other way to look at that is where the movie theater is located. Maybe you don't want to be in a building like that when it's raining.
Yeah, it's a little low.
You could find yourself under.
Do they have tilting chairs in there to keep your feet on
Well,
the ground?
That's right.
The ocean scene would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. It's a whole different kind of 3D.
Everybody move their feet in unison.
What is that old Kentucky Fried Movie? It's in Feel Around. It's, you know, surround sound. It's in Feel Around. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie.
Oh, one time they were pumping scents in
Oh,
Scentorama or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. Feel Around was this gag where you'd go sit in the movie theater and then they would have somebody that would,
pull on you and
yeah, they pull on your hair. They
wind and the, yeah.
They get into a fight with his woman, and she'd slap him. You get slapped, and pretty darkly. It turned into a sex scene. It was.
That'd be interesting.
Well, it wasn't quite. Oh, I remember the gag. It was at the end of the movie. It was a double feature with Deep Throat. So,
Don't look, Mark.
that was the gag. Well, I'm glad you guys felt like coming out and spending Christmas Eve with me this morning. I did bring some topics, so some light stuff, and something that I thought was really deep that I don't know if you guys care about or not, but I'm interested in any of your topics. Christmas themed being the best. Did you see my Grinch?
There it is.
Very nice.
Thank you.
You're such a kid.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Well, I have kids. And I have a Christmas crazy wife that has just decorations everywhere. I don't know if I told you guys, but we've got a Jack Skellington Christmas tree
Oh, good.
from Nightmare Before Christmas. So my daughter chose the theme that my wife likes to theme our Christmases. We've had a Mickey Christmas and we've had a snowman Christmas. And like our whole tree was just one big snowman with a broom. It's a white tree, a big head on the top of it. So this year she was trying to come up with a theme, and my dark daughter came up with Nightmare Before Christmas, and we were all like, "Yeah, that sounds challenging." And so we took all our Halloween decorations and used them for.
There you
But
go.
but you see, now that would be fine for me, but for my wife, that's not what you do. You take apart the Halloween decorations and turn them into Christmas decorations with a Halloween theme. So we've got
Garland.
what's it called?
Garland.
Garland?
Yeah.
That's the reefy kind of material you put in your awnings, your eaves. So that's wrapped with lights and jack-o'-lanterns and skeletons. Our tree is wrapped with jack-o'-lanterns and skeletons that were white Christmas bulbs that her and my daughter took and painted each one of them as a different skeleton. I don't know if you remember Nightmare Before Christmas, but there's this scene where there's this ghost dog, where he's a skeleton wearing a sheet, and so he was decorated in the movie as a reindeer. And my wife found a skeleton dog in a Halloween store, a plastic says.
I almost bought that same dog.
So now we have a sheeted skeleton dog poking out of our Christmas tree. So yeah, it's all themed. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's all themed
It's finished with ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho.
Yeah, there you go.
Ho ho ho, Jack Skeleton. Anyway, I guess. Oh, that's what I was getting at. It's not only do if I have half the spirit, it's because I have kids and my wife's a Christmas maniac. Well, did anybody come to club with some things they wanted to bring up? Anything crazy that's happened in the last week that we all need to know about?
Irving.
Yeah, Irving.
I read an interesting article this morning that a hacker, one of the most famous in the world, who was jailed for 18 months in the United States, is now teaching computer security in the Chinese college.
This isn't Kevin Mitnick, is it? Milnick. Do you happen to remember his name? You'd probably remember it if I said it.
It's a long time, it's like an hour or two ago.
Okay.
What did Irving say?
That one of the famous hackers, and I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm not aware of this news, but one of the famous hackers that spent 18 months in jail in the United States is now teaching classes in cybersecurity in China. Big news this morning.
Yeah.
The government is protecting him from being interviewed or allowing any information as to what he's doing. He was teaching it prior to him being convicted. He lived in San Diego, I think, at the time. Prior to being convicted, he was teaching at this university. Now he's back there teaching. And
So he was in San Francisco before
San Diego.
Oh, in San Diego. Before living and working in San Diego, he was a teacher at a Chinese university. He moves to San Diego.
Gets cut.
what the time of the events was,
Okay.
but he is attributed to some of the greatest hackings and suspected in most of the major hackings that occurred.
Most of the major hacking that has occurred in like the last 10 years, something like that.
Yeah, this guy is like the super hacker of the time. He's been convicted of the major ones. He's considered the major suspect.
I'm putting in hacker teaching China into my Google search to see what pops up.
I didn't get anything.
I didn't get anything. It's too new. You know what he's done is he's gone in. Is it Virgil Griffin? Does that sound right?
I don't think so. Somehow I think he might be Chinese name. Or that first name. But let me see which newspaper I read and I can probably find it.
He's so good. We can't find any of the articles about him.
He's gone dark.
Well, and Irving said the article he was reading was talking about how the Chinese are protecting him, keeping him away from reporters, making sure that he's not having any.
Keeping him off.
Keeping him away from-
San Carlos Computer Club too. It's-
Yeah. Keeping him away from CIA, without a doubt.
Can we get him in for a guest speaker?
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of guest speakers, did I mention last time that I talked to Juan at X-Pro and invited him to come talk to us about his internet service and the things that he offers? And so if you guys are interested in that, I'll try and schedule something with him after the first of the year.
Great.
I already got it.
What's that?
I already have him.
Yeah, well, what would be good to hear is his version of using smart DNS proxy, his attitude towards VPNs, because he has to deal with you guys using his service. So he would be an expert at all these questions we have with him when it comes to his service.
When he installed, I changed from Telmex, my little dish. I said, can you do the DNS? And he says, oh, you have DNS, so he just did it, and he put it right in the
In the router.
Router.
Yep,
Really?
the smart
It's been
DNS.
working.
He's also on a 15-day hold right now for new service, at least in my area.
Maybe for the holidays.
No, he's waiting on a new tower.
Okay.
Well, that's good to hear, because that's exactly what these internet providers should do, is say, sorry, no, we're maxed out.
Yeah, he just told me that Monday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It told me 6 months until they put another tower up by the
Oh, really?
near Corralitas there.
That's for Juan's service? Okay, wow. Well, that sounds like sounds like a nice investment he's making, and it's neat to kind of live in a place where homegrown internet can still thrive. Definitely not the case in the municipalities. Well, do we have anything else? Did you guys see that 267 million Facebook credentials have been lost? Actually, it was lost who knows when, but it's all appeared online just recently in a database. Searchable.
Credentials, like
Things like your Facebook username, your name, first and last name, your address, your email address, your phone number.
birth date. If you
Yeah,
have-
all that information that could be from Facebook that
I
you
don't think
could
I
have.
ever gave Facebook my address.
I
Yeah.
gave more fake birthday.
I have a question, Scott.
Yeah.
So aside from the fact that they use that information to target you as a consumer, is there any security risk for us as individuals?
Yeah, are you asking like what should we do? What are the
No.
No, what could they do with
I'm
it?
asking, does it mean anything?
what could they do with it? Well, that's a good question, and really the thing that I thought about this quite a bit, and the thing that would affect us, the way they could target us, and what's very significant is the phone number, the fact that they've got your phone number, and so they know who you are, they have your phone number. It's just a couple clicks away to know who you know. So they can be targeting you specifically with SMS messages. They could be appearing as, I don't know, a two-factor authentication from a bank, a friend from out of town that might be having a problem with a car, somebody that's only allowed one phone call and couldn't reach you, so they sent the text message. Those
kind of scams.
those kinds of scams are what you need to be aware of. That's a huge population of information that's been out there for a while now. And if it's accurate, see, you get to see some of my backgrounds. Look at that.
What is it?
It's can I?
Yeah,
Oh,
There we go.
that's the Death Star.
Can I get
Yes.
some of this stuff out of the way? There we go.
Yes. That one's good. So, the only one we had recently was these people that said they were stuck in Sparks, Nevada, because their motorhome broke down, but he made it, so it's okay.
Through the eye of the needle.
Yeah, but can you trust him?
The other,
well, we didn't send them any money.
Good for you.
I don't think it's Facebook, but I'm getting so many robocalls on our AT&T, our new iPhones, and I was getting a whole bunch of texts. The meeting's been changed. It's not today, and I don't know if I should tell them they've got the wrong thing or if I should just ignore it and delete them.
I think you should block them.
Yeah, I do that. I block all of those numbers.
Well, you can block texts as well.
Yeah, I can block the caller
No,
on
you
the
can
text
block
message.
texts as well.
Yeah. I think,
On message.
All right.
No help on the shelf.
yeah.
And it's funny.
And then I delete them.
There's a Wookiee on the cookie.
Wookie on the
Sorry. All right, I'm done with that.
No, you're not.
It'll come up again. You know that you can only use the fact that you have children for so long because they're getting a little bit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I know your husband. I know him quite well. He's
got
a very
grandchildren.
childish person.
I got grandchildren now.
Oh, that's a second coming.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. My wife has to tolerate me too.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, out of all that data that's been on the internet for a while, I think all it's really telling us is suspect everything. Just,
Which is what we've always had to do anyway.
That anyway.
that's really where we're at, and be very suspicious of things from legitimate people that you haven't heard from in a while. Okay, I mean, it'll get even harder when it's coming from people you talked to yesterday. That'll be the most difficult stuff to discern.
Well, it's pretty quick. You know, like I've had a couple of Facebook friends accounts being hacked, and they'll say, hi, what are you doing this morning, or something. And it's very quick. Within a couple of questions, you realize it's not who you think it is. You know, and report it, and away you go.
I think we should come up with a phrase
Yes.
for that.
Something to use specifically.
Yeah, whenever you're suspicious this is not your Facebook friend contacting you after a year of not hearing from them. And something like, hey, I'm in trouble, could you send me money? Thank God you contacted me. My car just broke down. I need some money, you can leave it at...
I like that.
Something that'll make them go, huh? I was just saying Merry Christmas.
I play Words with Friends, and my identity protector said this morning that my email address was on the dark web.
You know, I had a Facebook a Firefox installation just recently do this to one of my customers, and they were concerned because Firefox updated one of the features that it pushed. Yeah.
No, that you can't shut off.
I-
Well, unless you unplug it.
Oh, it's actually an orange light, and it's on because the lights are on over there. They have a switch to turn it on and off, and nobody's gone and turned the switch off. Yeah, well, it's that whole bank of lights up there. I know where the switch is. It's over there, through the swamp.
Do not fall on the tile in the water.
Yeah. Go
I-
through it quickly, but don't run.
I've got it. If you get up personal with that TV, you'll see
Penguin.
it's been through a lot of this.
But maybe not turned on.
You may get turned on.
You get to see the
I
light
have
show.
an Apple, a question.
Oh, certainly.
So when I've got these 4 apps, Pages,
Notes.
something else that says not compatible with update.
Ooh. Yeah. That's frustrating.
It is. And you can't go in and find anywhere to actually do that update on its own. And I don't see any,
I don't think.
I think I have to update my whole thing from Mojave or whatever it is.
I think that's what that's telling you is that there is an update to iMovie or Pages or whatever it is
That's only compatible with,
with the latest version of
That's what I got.
the OS.
I just haven't learned to do that. So.
Well, what's very frustrating is to know there's an update out there for it, and your computer can't go to the latest update.
Exactly.
Oh.
But I did do the 13.3 and everything so far is working just fine.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask, because, you did it, right, Bill?
Yep.
And I haven't yet.
I did it on my phone and my iPad
Actually, yeah, 13.3.
and it all seems to be fine.
Yep, I haven't had any trouble.
It changed
So
the
it's OS?
display to these little
iOS.
teeny tiny
iOS
icons
13.3.
on my iPad.
Well, the latest one,
But you can
whatever it
go in
is.
and change that back to your giant ones if you prefer.
Oh, okay, because it said new ways to browse, edit photos.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for me it works.
So when it installed the update, by default it changed your icon size. I heard they had done something to put more icons on the
Little tiny
screen.
ones. Yeah, more icons on the screen. That's
What's
how they were
dark
billing
mode?
it. I didn't care for the dark at all.
It's creepy.
Dark mode is creepy.
No, it's a fad in tech right now to change everything that was white to dark. Everything that was light is now dark.
Why?
I don't know. People like it.
Is it
They-
easier on the eyes?
Well, you know what? There actually is a practical reason for it with the OLED displays. Because if you're using dark colors, they can actually turn those pixels off and save battery life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it really is an aesthetic. It's an aesthetic before anything. There's no real practicality in it.
The saving is so small, you mean?
Well, with the newer equipment, it's significant. And so people have changed to darker themes specifically to take advantage of that significant savings. But on equipment and a majority of the equipment that's out there, it doesn't make that big of a difference. I mean, it's nominal. Well, when you're talking about an LCD display, there's no way of turning off the pixels. So all you're doing is changing the color of the pixels. And so there is no real power savings. Yeah. And so the majority of equipment that's out there that's being used all the time does not get to take advantage of the power savings that a dark mode could allow. And then even the dark mode, I mean, we're talking about 30 minutes, 45 minutes of battery life. We're not talking about a significant amount of time, even though that equipment can turn off pixels and does reduce the amount of electricity that's used. So in the end, it's always an aesthetic.
So the recommendation is to go ahead and update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the 13.3, Jody is the one recommendation we have right now. That you're not having any problems with keyboards, you're not having any,
Neither is she.
and you're doing it on an iPad
And my phone.
and your phone. What kind of phone do you have?
iPhone X.
X?
X.
Yeah, okay. 10.
10.
10.
Good.
Yeah.
This
You'll
is-
hurt Apple ears if
Oh,
you
well,
say
it's an
X.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in Microsoft, it's X.
That's right. Okay, it's a 10.
Anyway,
Except for Windows 10.
I updated.
Series X. Windows 10 version X. That's the one they have now.
Yeah, okay.
The Series X.
I'm on 13.2. Been there for a couple months or whatever. And it's
13.3.
13. Okay, if you're on
Oh.
13 anything, you should be at 13.3.
Oh, okay. Then it's
Yeah.
time to update.
Yeah.
Didn't tell me that. Anyway, this one works fine.
Yeah. What I'd been recommending since the very beginning of all this 13 stuff is wait, except if you're on 13. If you're already on 13, then update, because you're playing catch up. They're fixing as you're going along.
Okay, so I'm at 12.0.1, and I should go to 13.3.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Okay.
I say yes.
Jody says yes. I don't have an iDevice. I have no dog in this race. I have watched as complaints went lower and lower with each update. We've had over 9 updates since it was released. It was released less than 6 months ago, and there have been 9 updates to fix the problems they released it with.
But there hasn't been an update past 13.3 for a while.
Well, he did 13.2 November.
There you
so
go.
like less than a month ago. 13.2, so 13.3 must have come out within the last month.
No, it came out this.
Yeah.
It came out in the fall. Well, maybe November. I don't know.
In November, we're in December. It's less than a
No,
month.
it was longer ago than that.
Yeah.
Was it? Because when you guys were talking about it in the fall, was when I was looking at it, and Bill changed it then, so I know it was November.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds right. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted with the puddle forming in the other room. I'm waiting for ducks to show up. That is a lot of water.
The other thing I'm having a hard time is the iCloud space.
Oh yeah, you're running out of space?
I've run out so many times, and
And what do you do to get clear?
well, I delete a lot of photos, and I don't keep I installed Google Photo.
That was my recommendation to you folks the other day, was
Yes.
that's a great way to make sure you have a backup of your photos.
Okay, so Google Photo is now being used, but now my phone won't back up because my iCloud is full. So
You may just stop using iCloud for photos.
Yes, so turn off the photos to the iCloud now that they're all in Google Photo.
If you're not going to pay for iCloud, then
Yeah.
I would turn off all those extras, because what would matter to you more is to have a backup of your settings and a backup of your phone.
Okay.
And so the photos, unfortunately, would not be part of that backup.
Right.
But if you're using Google Photos, then at the very least you have this slightly lower quality backup of all the photos on the phone.
Right. And Google Photos,
I also, if you've got a laptop in your world, I would plug a cable into it every so often and make sure you're synchronizing those photos over, just so you've got the original somewhere. I mean, I don't know, it would matter to me. I actually back up my phone at this computer as well as mine at home. I try to keep it convenient. I have cables sitting in these computers so that I can just plug them in and do it every so often.
well, and we have a Drobel. We have a storage thing
Oh.
for all of that at home.
A
But,
Drobel NAS, a network attached storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we keep it all on there, but it's
Yeah,
just,
that's-
just getting back to it and, you know, in the meantime.
Basically,
But also editing in iPhoto, I find I can do a few things in it, but in Google, the learning curve is a little bit different for doing any kind of editing of my photos.
Well, yeah, you should be able to use the. Yeah, I don't think it's called iPhotos anymore. It's called Photos.
Yeah, it's just called photo,
Yeah.
But
And-
if I don't, you didn't put your breakfast down. So my camera
So,
roll,
yeah, see, you can continue to do everything exactly the way you're doing it.
but just don't send them to the iCloud.
That's right.
Oh, I
Just
see.
go into your settings, go into the iCloud settings, and shut off Photos.
Okay. And then, because everything's going to Google Photo,
Thank you so much.
You have at least an emergency backup. You have the originals in your phone. And then I recommend, like you said, you've got a Drobel. So
so it's under iPhone storage? No, where do I go?
it's under settings under iCloud. And there should be a series of switches, toggle switches.
yeah.
And you should be able to turn off photos. And it might give you some messages about deleting from iCloud, leaving copies on your phone, something
It
like
gives
that.
me tips all the time about that.
Yeah.
I can't find iCloud. Is it under general or is it just under settings?
Oh, it might be under iTunes iCloud. Or storage.
Yeah, it
Well,
won't.
there's a storage.
Now I'm guessing. You know what you can do at the top of the settings is you can type in the word iCloud and it should appear under the search.
Oh, search. iCloud.
If I click on my name, it gives me iCloud.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Yeah, click on your account.
Okay.
See, I
Manage storage.
prefaced this by saying I don't have an iDevice.
Well, I don't know how it is, that's on my iPad. I don't know, so.
Okay, well, I think it is off. iCloud Photos
iCloud Photos is off.
is off.
All right.
And shared
You know,
albums.
You should.
Storage is only 99 cents a month for additional storage.
Well, and that's
They're
really
saying
how they.
$6.95.
A month?
I pay 99 cents.
This one says upgrade storage, $6.95 a month.
Huh,
May I see?
maybe you've got.
And that's US, so that's like $10 a month.
Yeah, well, I pay 99 cents.
Maybe you got it.
I may have.
Turned off sharing albums.
Do you have a computer that's using iCloud?
I do.
The same account?
On mine, yeah.
No, I mean,
No, mine.
no. Yours is a different iCloud
Is it
account?
this one? It's this one though. My iPad.
Okay, so you probably need to do the same thing on that device too.
I'll go to settings. I go to iCloud storage.
Books, movies. You are syncing movies, but it doesn't look like you're. It looks like everything is photos.
It's on in here.
Yeah, it looks like everything is photos. If you look at the top of your iCloud, it shows you what it's being used up by.
It says download all photos and videos have not been fully downloaded will be removed from this iPad. Still be available on other devices using iCloud Photo Library.
So that's a photo sharing where you have access to the photos from your iPhone on your iPad. What it's saying is that there's stuff that hasn't made it over there,
Okay.
and that stuff that hasn't made it over there will not be available now.
So I have two choices: remove from iPad or download photos and videos.
Yeah. Regardless, what's going to happen is you are going to lose access to those photos as they are. They're not going to be the same photo. If you understand what I'm trying to say, you've taken a photo here.
Yes.
You have access to that photo there.
Yes.
If you turn that off, you don't. So
Okay.
this is what it's telling you. You don't. Now, would you like to have a copy of it there, or would you just like to see it disappear from the iPad?
Oh, okay. So my two choices are remove from the iPad or download.
Its own copy,
What would it download it into?
the iPad. So it'd start using up your iPad storage.
Okay.
Does that clear?
Download and keep originals turned on instead of optimize items.
So I believe the optimized language has to do with what quality you're getting from these other sources.
Okay.
Going out on a boat today?
Like you could have the full quality on this phone and get just like a preview quality over here. I think that's what the optimize is about. Optimize is just faster, takes up less space.
Right.
Now it's telling me 484 photos and videos will be removed from the site.
Yeah.
That's true.
So as long as everything's working the way it's supposed to, those 440 photos all came from here or from over there, and you should have them in your other locations.
My Google Photos.
I did not check your setup before you started doing all that.
Well, it says you can buy the used. Managed to
All right.
Right.
Have we got anything else? I'm sorry, I'm not shutting anybody down. I'm interested in what we're talking about.
Soup.
Who?
We
Soup?
were discussing the boat parade tonight and the soup that I have to make.
Okay, maybe I am
Make sure
shutting it
they're
down.
still gonna go. I wanna make sure they're still gonna go or I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm sure it's gonna go.
It'll be a message from the port, the captain port. If, otherwise, you guys are out there, raincoats and
Right.
Christmas lights.
The lights won't work.
Well, the prediction is for it to dry up by this afternoon.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. So
Did you
hopefully
see that prediction?
Drier, yes.
Drier.
drier. Yeah. Well, I saw a rain cloud, then I saw it dry, then I saw another rain cloud, then I saw it
So
dry.
intermittent type stuff.
So
Well,
you'll be
Arizona's
facing
getting,
monsoons out on the water.
there you go.
We'll be getting text messages from the Bahia, from the Baja.
So are we meeting next week?
What is the date next week?
I used to hate when
31st.
The 31st. Wow, we're having some pretty. You know what? I'm not interested in that.
You're not?
I don't think I am. But how about we plan on the 7th?
So skip next week.
Let's skip next week. Yeah.
Check on my dog.
Well, I hope she's fine.
He's inside, but
Oh, okay.
hadn't gone to the bathroom yet.
Oh no.
And all that rough water running?
You may open the door and he'll just poop right there at the stoop.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Have a good holiday. Well, I came with a topic that I found fascinating this morning. That I will put a link on the website so that you guys will find this article. But it's this whole article on these fake faces and how these fake faces and how artificial intelligence is creating and generating random fake faces that are so very difficult to distinguish from a real person. And the article that I'll put a link to is about how this network called the BL Network has been using Facebook groups full of fake accounts to buy and distribute political ads to affect the 2020 election. And so this article I was reading, I found it fascinating. It's a real rabbit hole of information. There's links to all kinds of information that is in this topic. And just a few of the things that I got out of it. Coordinated inauthentic behavior is a CIB is a terminology I'd never heard before. Coordinated inauthentic behavior. And this is this activity of creating groups of fake profiles to sway issues, to buy political ads and to just be fake influencers. Again, this is coordinated, inauthentic behavior, and we're starting to see it from these supposed fake news sites. And so what they used to do is they used to get images for their fake accounts from image sources that are out there, like Getty Photos. What I had a name to it here, but these sites that have like stock images that are free for people to use, they're just supposed to give credit, and these they would ignore the give credit, and they would just take pictures from that were put out. So nobody's going to complain about these pictures or be misconstrued as being somebody else, because these pictures are out there for the specific purpose of free use. So they don't send up any red flags to begin with. There isn't me seeing me going, hey, that's my picture. Why is that on such and such's account? But what they've done is they've upped their game now by using these fake AI-generated images. I'd never heard of the BL network.
I can't log in to look at it.
To what?
BL network.
Oh, I wouldn't get into the BL network. It's BS. It's
BS.
yeah.
BL is BS.
Yeah, it is completely a. I mean, I got to their website and looked at what they're, and it's all really right-leaning propaganda. Some of it just immediately came out. It just popped out at me as, well, that's absolutely false. I know of sources that would completely refute
There's a lot of
that
people
headline.
that don't understand that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why they take advantage of it.
Well, and I actually think that it's probably more powerful to point out the tools of falsifying and distributing information than paying attention to the information itself.
I don't think they would pay attention to the tools. They only see what they want to
Well,
see.
no, I'm saying from the perspective of if you wanna have some say in what's going on, it would be better to have sources like this outed as using 50,000 fake profiles, because they have to have 50,000 fake profiles, because there would never be that many people that would follow them and distribute their information. And so if you've got legitimate information that can show all 50,000 of those are fake profiles, it really disqualifies that as a source of information.
Well, statistics can be used the same way, because you can make statistics say whatever you want it to.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't understand how to use it, you're
But
swayed.
but I do think we're talking apples and oranges, because
Yeah,
it would be this is like statistics could never make a difference in the sway of fake people versus real people.
Well, it
Like
could.
fake people should never be having an opinion, I would say. Right? And so this article talked about this network that I didn't realize existed. They also they use, here's a scary thing to think about. They use a thing called generative adversarial networks to create these pictures. So if you get into this article, you can approach this information as they're trying to influence the election, but there's all this information about creating fake images, and then there's all this information about these GAN systems, these what's it called? Generative adversarial networks. And what this is neural networks. This is programming technology that I'd never heard of before, where they pit two AIs scenario to increase the quality of anything they're having AI work on. So, if you're, for example, if you're going to have artificial intelligence bake a cake, well, the best way to get the best result is to have more than one AI baking a cake, and the rules set for what determines a cake is better. And then you just pit them against each other, and very quickly you end up with a better cake. And And that's what they've done with these photos, is they've used this kind of construct. And so this whole idea of fake faces being generated by artificial intelligence goes back 5 years ago. And if you look at those photos, it's very obvious that they're fake photos.
They didn't do a very good job.
But if you look at the pictures that are being generated now, well, in this article, they turned me on to a website called whichfacesreal.com. I recommend you guys check out this site, whichfacesreal.com. I swear to God, I couldn't get higher than 50%.
Which is statistically possible. You should get about 50%.
I was failing miserably at this game. And this article also, well, there's a place you can go to see these generated fake faces called thispersondoesn'texist.com. If you go to this web address, every so many seconds, or every refresh, that's what it is, every refresh will be a completely new face that has never existed before. It's not a person's face, it's not taken off of the internet, it's not a real person. It's a completely genuine new face every time you refresh the website. And that's it. They don't have any verbiage, there's no explanation. They're just showing you what the algorithm is able to accomplish now. So in real time, you refresh the site, a brand new person is as soon as you refresh it, that one vaporizes like Thanos, in the snap is gone, and a completely new person exists.
Scott, I think Birmingham.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Have a good one.
Thanks for joining our meeting.
On the subject of information, Russia successfully tested yesterday or today, closing down their internet.
Closing down what?
Closing down internet access, which China and Iran have been doing already.
Let's put a pin in that for just a moment. Let me close off this topic, just because I wanted to mention that there are lessons on how to discern fake faces. So I didn't get all the way through the lessons, but this may become a thing. This may become, right now, there are some very specific characteristics that you can look at to determine whether a picture is fake. But I'm telling you, it's not the things that you're used to looking at. It's when you glance across these faces, you think they're real people. And if you spend time pondering which faces...
Yeah, it becomes more difficult.
Oh, it's whichfacesreal.com. They put up two faces right next to it and asked you to click on the real one. And I was just, my ego was bursting this morning. I couldn't make the difference.
The only way to do it is just intuitive. You just say, this one. Just look, this one.
Well, there's still some algorithmic things you can look for. Like one of the keys that I thought was really impressive and very accurate. It's the reason I got it real more often than not. Was look for in the photo. Look for text. Look for things like a background, like a sign.
Yeah.
Look for, because it gets that stuff wrong. While it's molding together a face to make a face that never existed, it doesn't know what to do with things like text. That's not what it's supposed to be working on.
But why is there text in their pictures?
Because it's pulled from all kinds of information. So like when you see a brow, when you see like somebody's brow, that is not necessarily a brow. That's where that information's supposed to go. But it learned to make that from a full photo. And that full photo had text on it, and it had background on it.
So it is a real person?
No, it's...
In part, yes.
No, it's not. It's you, because if it was in part, then maybe that text would be readable. But what it is it's generating these faces from all these different things it learned from. And it thinks it's supposed to put this text stuff in the back.
Yeah.
Right?
That's part of it.
But when it does it doesn't know how to put guaranteed within a year or so, that's not going to be
A problem for them.
yeah, they are reading this information. And actually, if I was going to create fake photos for a website, I might create the photo and then Photoshop the background,
Yeah.
right? Just to make it harder.
Right.
Another one that I found was hair, long hair. In short hair, it's very hard to discern whether it's a fake image. And I can tell you it's hard to discern in long hair as well, but if you look really close to it,
It's easier.
it looks like like it's been nudged sometimes. Not always, but it looks like it's been pushed with like a paintbrush. It's very difficult to discern, but at least there are some of those trappings. And one of the things that the article brought up was eye placement, at least in the case of this fake Facebook group. Because this seems like it would be an easy thing. If you were going to put together a fake Facebook group, all you'd have to do is move the images around, like just crop them differently, and this wouldn't work. But in this case, they'd been too lazy. The BL network had been too lazy to do that. And their eye placement sat exactly in the same place on every photo in the group. So they took a picture of the Facebook page of the group, and it has every member listed in a line, and they were able to run 2 parallel lines straight down the Facebook page, and every person's eyes were on that line, making it very clear all these accounts were fake accounts. No, just very interesting stuff. I'll put a link on our website, and it will take you into a rabbit hole that you could waste hours looking at.
So we
Web pages of fake people, games on how to determine whether they're fake or not, lessons in how to determine fake pictures. Very, very cool stuff.
he had a question.
Yes, Irving.
Well, if we have time with something for the future, is the fact that Iran, China, especially Iran, there is any information coming in from abroad is monitored and restricted. Russia just tested closing down any information on the internet entirely through the country successfully.
Yeah, we were aware of that going on, especially in Iran. They've turned off their internet at different times. What's important for us to realize is that it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, we've just done it that way. But the technology is ripe for being diverse and self-healing. And like Juan's network is a good example of that. I mean, if it was a closed system that was not, that was completely under control, somebody like Juan wouldn't be able to put together his own network. And you could bet if Telmex all of a sudden shut down their network, there's a very good possibility Juan's network would lose internet. But then there's this side possibility that if we needed communication between each other, we could still use his network because his network wouldn't be regulated in that manner. It's more a federation than it is a central authority.
Prior to the internet, I was a hobbyist, and I communicated with other people over the phone. We had a modem, and it was just 2 people communicating, no interference whatsoever. It wasn't over the airwaves, it was just over the phone. I had a modem,
Yeah.
and we would exchange and even build software and share it with each other for mundane things like checking accounts and things like that.
Like back in the days of bulletin board systems that you
Bulletin board,
dial
that's what we
into.
used,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I got
forget the
started
name of
on
that.
that stuff too. Yeah, the nature of internet technology, its roots are, it's rooted in this idea that it could survive an atomic blast. That you could take out a large section of the United States and it would still be able to route information around that area. And so the foundation of the technology is one where it's harder to control than it is to allow it to run free. We've just been lullified into the way we've built our network. We've allowed 2 or 3 main sources to control the entire backbone, or what we consider a backbone, to the whole country. Yeah.
How's New Orleans doing?
You know, I should have come with an update on New Orleans, and I didn't. I don't know how they're doing.
They didn't have a nuclear blast.
No, they were just hit with a virus that,
Yes,
and
that's
they've still got internet. Don't misunderstand from last week. That was just their entire municipality is running off of pen and paper because all the government computers have been turned off while they clean up their network after the virus.
And hopefully you have people that grew up doing that still employed. So that they know what to do.
Well,
Pen and paper wise, I think.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I worked for a school division a few years ago, and they all of a sudden got a virus in their network, a complete network. So they kept coming around, like I had a classroom full of computers, they come around and they'd be checking for the things, and they get it cleaned out, and then all of a sudden it would come back.
Yeah.
And they were interested in my computers because I had some music things that could be used or whatever, and they couldn't find anything. But they found that it was on a board member's computer. That was the original. Every time they plugged in,
Right.
it would propagate again. So it was the board member that was doing it, nobody else.
Well, it can come down to just one.
Yeah, it's just one computer that would propagate it again.
Sure.
You know, we used to be concerned about that one lone computer on the network that didn't get its security updates, like an old Windows 2000 computer that wasn't running a firewall and a virus scanner, or a Windows XP system that was still out there doing one job, but it was on the internet. And because they're not updating the security on it, then a loophole can be, they can find a hole and a virus can get in there, and then from there it would launch attacks on
Yeah.
its network. So those sound like really corporate concerns. Doesn't sound like something to be concerned about in your house until they figured out how to compromise an Xbox and a PlayStation gaming consoles, which look really discreet in any environment. You could bring an Xbox to an office environment and people wouldn't assume that that would be a platform for launching attacks. So now here we are, and I think that all homes have to be worried about this, is you have your old Android phone sitting on your Wi-Fi network, and it's got the same level of security on your network as all of the computers and other devices on your home Wi-Fi network. And your old Android phone that hasn't gotten security updates could be compromised. So this could be sitting like on your desk in your bedroom, and that's the platform that's being used to launch these attacks on all the equipment in your home.
In the house?
Yeah.
The other thing I found interesting, I read somewhere that one of the ways of compromising government systems was to put a virus on a thumb drive and then throw it out in the parking lot.
Yep.
People
And
pick them up
somebody-
and they plug them in to find out what's on them.
I go back to my basic question. With all this discussion of security, has anybody in this group ever lost any money through hacking? Accounts?
You know, probably more social engineering than hacking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's, well, academically a nice discussion. I don't think it affects us personally.
Well, it affects us. I mean, there are definitely people that have had to. Well, there's definitely people that have had to pay me money to fix their equipment because of hacking.
You might be the guy, he would pay for you to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, however you want to feel. I mean, I'm not infecting people with malware, but it's definitely affecting people when they get infected.
But how do they profit? In other words,
Oh,
profit-
yeah. Well, I mean, in any number of ways, like taking your computer and adding it to a bot network of 200,000 and leveraging that as a supercomputer to another agenda, whatever that agenda might be.
Like mining a Bitcoin.
Yeah, like mining Bitcoin. Or just selling them. There's a black market out there for handing over keys to botnet networks.
I have a suggestion for a future
Well,
meeting.
Well, hold on a second. If you were to, if you wanted to bring down a system, like if you want to bring down a government website, you would need hundreds of thousands of computers at your control. Now, if you decided that it was in your best interest, I don't know, on election day to bring down the Trump website, then you could go to the black market and you could buy the keys to a network that would do that, because there are hundreds of thousands of computers out there that are compromised and controlled. and none of the owners know it at this particular moment. And the moment that botnet starts moving, people are going to start seeing fishy business with their computers they
And
didn't
we
even
don't
realize.
have, we don't have defenses in place for that right now.
Well, we hope we do, but what I'm describing is a 0-day attack, and by definition, a 0-day attack is stuff that's out there in the wild that we didn't know was compromised. We didn't know it was compromised until day of, and so that's a definite issue.
And then you don't have time to do anything about it.
That's right. It's 0-day. It's already out there. It's happening right before our eyes. And tomorrow, it's going to be nothing to deal with. But today, it's an insane thing to deal with.
Okay, so that's why I was saying for a future discussion, because it'll take a
It's
while.
not raining.
This is kind of sounds like
Did you walk
mining
down here?
Bitcoin.
No.
Well, mining Bitcoin would be a way
You
you
drove
could
down.
use it.
Very, very.
You drove down.
Shooting advertising off of people could be one way of
Two,
using it.
yeah.
But you know, these compromised, this latest
Tsunami is coming around.
Android compromised
not
the
much of a
screen of
silver.
bank apps, and they had a problem with tens of thousands of euros going missing from people's
They
accounts.
were getting money out.
Yeah, they were literally getting money out of
Did the
accounts.
banks lose the money, or were they able to reverse it?
She knows where it's supposed to go.
I imagine just like they're insured, and so they, but you still.
My credit card got compromised and
It was used?
it was
I-
used, but everything was online. And when I asked them, I said, I still have my credit card in my hand.
Oh, that's mine.
So they didn't.
Eso es mío. Eso es mío. Sí.
And they,
Gracias.
they
Just-
said somebody just was randomly selecting numbers and things, and they got mine. And they used it on a bunch of things, like hotel reservations, a bunch of things that were online. And they reversed the charges and their insurance company.
Yeah.
So,
No,
so the people actually got away with the money? That's what.
Oh yeah, that's definitely happening.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
people are
benefit.
definitely getting away with the money.
Yes, and
Yeah.
they'll keep doing it because they get little bits or they get more.
But
you know.
but more to the point you're trying to get at is the cost to us indirectly is lots of inconvenience. That's really what it comes
Stealing
down
our
to.
time.
Yeah,
A
and how I
ridiculous
found
amount
out
of
was-
inconvenience.
Yeah, I went
Well, I
to
think
pay
that
for
the
a bill.
security measures to stop it is what's killing me as far as inconvenience of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost every site, no matter how simple, requires a verification.
Yeah.
And that means you have to wait for an email or a text, however you get the verification. You have to send it back because there's always a chance of mistake. It's taken longer and longer to get on any site.
Hey,
Especially credit cards and banking and all that kind of stuff. It is.
did we say we weren't doing a meeting next week?
Yeah.
You said that
Okay,
you were
all right.
keen on it.
You might pay attention to Facebook. I may change my mind.
See how the week goes. You're gonna
Let's
have
see what
a-
happens.
have a
I,
holiday.
I got a lot of family in town, and
Send it
I'm
out.
advertising for Sam, New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
At Hammerheads.
oh great.
Anybody wants to come?
Sam Rainwater is the player.
Scott,
Yeah,
thank you. I wanna
and
wish
at
you
4 o'clock he
and your
celebrates
family
Greenwich Mean
the best.
Time.
Have a happy
you know.
holiday.
Oh, so he keeps getting different routes.
New Year's Eve, every hour. No, it's still him, but we all get a free tequila shot
Yeah.
and we keep going.
Thanks for all your
It's a
service.
fun night.
Well, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
The Evie.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
Eve.
Happy
You
holidays.
guys have a good holiday.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
too,
Uh,
Scott.
everything's going good with
Yeah,
the computer.
It's all, the Apple stuff is good, but Carolyn's still having some trouble with Google because it keeps messing between those two accounts. What I keep thinking is that she put the Carolyn Haynes
Mhm.
as because she was a writer, or she is a writer.
Okay.
She wanted, and when it says Jim Carolyn,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Bill. You guys have a good one.
it just wasn't. People would get an email from her that said Jim Carolyn, and they would go, I don't know that, or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Didn't make, but when they see Carolyn Haynes, they would know it's about the book, right? So she wanted to have her own, so she put that in as a separate, and then it just they weren't divided up enough, and so sometimes things would go out on one and the other, and it just so that we're just like this with them.
So in settings, there's a setting for email, and she can remove the Jim and Carol account. She doesn't have to leave that there. I'm
Then
just
the thing is that's the one that gets used mostly.
so maybe it's just a matter of being aware of. She can set one as a default account, so that whenever she's sending out, that's the first one that pops up. Well, I like on the email programs, when you receive an email message into one of those accounts, if you reply to that, it's going to reply using the email account it came in.
That's right.
But if you create a brand new email, then it's going to be created with the default account.
Yeah, I think, and that's where she's come up with it, because she'll go in and she'll go in and she'll say, I want to talk to Sam. So she goes into contacts, picks Sam, sends him an email, even though he might have been using the other one. Now it goes out on the other side. You see.
And unfortunately, if you're going to have both accounts configured, then you have to make a mental note
Yeah.
to check which account it's going out on, to make sure it's the appropriate one. I mean, a mental note like, this is my default, I don't want it to go out under the default. If the Jim and Carol one is the one that gets used more often, then that definitely should be the default. And the reasoning would be, she's only using the other account to be presented as a writer. So all the correspondence she sends out as a writer, she's making a mental note going, oh, this is work related. I need to change the account.
Yeah. I'll mention that she should refine what she's using that account for, because she does use it for social purposes too. She does.
Unfortunately, I mean, I'm very aware of this stuff, and still I'll spit out an email and I'll go, I sent that out under the wrong account. I maintain like 4 different accounts. One of them's for the bed and breakfast, and occasionally even that one I'll accidentally send it, because I'm thinking email, I'm not thinking accounts at the time I do it. But that's the only real way to do it, is to, I mean, when you're replying, it's never an issue, but when you're creating a new one, you have to make a conscious effort of knowing which account you're sending from.
Yeah, and then because it's been all changed now,
So I heard you say something like that originally. I don't mean to interrupt you, Jim, but it is important to make the distinction of the only thing that's changed is the Apple account the devices are associated with. You can have the Carol account, the Carol Haynes account, in Google, in your email, configured with your equipment. None of that's an issue. The only thing that's changed is what the equipment is associated with, that iCloud account.
And that's kind of the thing that's difficult, because she's a writer, not a technical person. You know, she don't give her a screwdriver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just people are like that.
Sure.
And that's the way she is.
Don't let me fix my own car.
Yeah, and I think she mentioned to you that when she was in the office typing, that they said, oh, here's a selector typewriter. You know, one of those ones with the ball like this.
Yeah, sure.
So she said, okay, well, let's look at the same keyboard. Oh, it doesn't work. Call IT. And then they whipped that away and they said, oh, this is now a computer, and you do the same thing and you push print and it goes over here.
Yeah.
And problems, call IT. So she still treats it like a typewriter.
Sure. Yeah.
If she can get in there and she can make it come up, well, then she's doing all right. And she doesn't try and make sure that she's in the right car. She just puts the key and it goes. You know.
Let me know if you think that I can help with anything more with it. As far as the equipment, it's not running slow anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It's sped up considerably. So but I think it's the next step going into the Google side of it, you know, because we were fixing the Apple part, right?
Yeah. We didn't spend any real time working with email or some of these concepts we're sharing right now. Oh, sure. Yeah, I could sit down with you guys and do some email lessons.
Merry Christmas.
Well, tell her Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have a good one. We're gonna be up at Bill and Cheryl's. They live up on the Carrico.
Oh, nice.
Down on the sail pass, so we'll be able to watch all that, and then there's out at Techaline.
I thought they did that, they're not doing it Christmas Eve.
Hey, I'm just going to say goodbye. Merry Christmas. Thanks for being with us. That was our Christmas Eve meeting. Everybody is churned out of here except for me. So I'm going to start putting together equipment. Let's see if we can see some of the water out here. This is back in there, if you can see it, is where we typically meet. And it is a lake of water. We did the right thing by moving out of there as quickly as we could. Let's, in fact, let's go to another camera. I just wanted to get a little footage of how wet it is out here. Crazy. Oh, that's a horrible footage. That doesn't show anything. All it you know what it shows? It shows the picture window. It like needs to be up to the glass for it to have any. Oh wait, no. I'm looking at the wrong camera. There we go. Look at all that water. That's great. Can you raise it up just a hair, Rich? Wow. So we were, it was smart of us to move out of that. Okay, that's all we need. We're getting out of here. Richard's been with me. He's shutting things down. I'm going to say goodbye. We're not doing a meeting next week, so we'll see you next year. Until then, tech on. Have a happy holiday.